Ah. Hi. Remember how I said I would share with you the pictures I made during the Big Picture, Big Idea Festival? Well, I'm finally just getting to the video because I figured out how to get my privacy on my bedroom desk. So, I'm going to go through this in order, one after another, each page till I get down to number 12. Now, the first word of the week was share, and my back's up here just a little bit. You can see that there I put a butterfly, which is a stamp, and I did colored pencil work in these, along with tons of embossing, which, you know, I could show you this up close. A little bit of gold embossing. I thought it went really well with the brown. So, and as I said in my blog posts, I added a little bit of sparkly embossing, which you can now see if I glint it in the light. Okay. Now, second day was the word wonder. I really didn't have any words to write for these pages because I didn't really want to express any of my personal thoughts or anything on an online website where people could read it, so I just kind of left the pages empty for future use. But the reason why I put a girl singing on this page is because I thought about the wonder of singing and how it feels to actually do it, which, since I'm kind of practicing and doing singing, that's why I went for this theme. And again, lots of gold embossing, colored pencil work up here, you know, relatively simple. For the third day, the word was less, and I cut out a purple heart and some scrapbook paper, and then did black embossing with some stamping on there, and then drew the girl, which came out looking a lot like me. But the reason why I went for a heart and drew the girl is because I thought, what would match the word less? And all I could think is, let's face it, everyone would like a little less heartache. So that's where the whole heart idea came from, and the darker color tones and all that stuff. So you can just see, though, you know, little extra details. I put a heart-shaped pillow and the girl leaning on it, her hair flowing out, all that stuff. If you're really curious to know, I based the swirling designs and pretty hair stuff off of Nouveau type stuff, so that's why I have that particular style mixed in there. So there's that one. And day 4 was for the word give, and I was running out of printer ink, which is why it came out gray, so I just had to outline the letters. And then I put a little bit of gold underneath. A common thing I did with all the pages, I underlined them. And then I didn't really think this page turned out as well as I wanted to, but then I realized, yeah, it's pretty once I completed the whole thing and posted it on the site. So I used lots of black emboss in all here throughout the whole page, and then colored in with colored pencil here and there, and then I did the heart effect, and I dusted this with black chalk to give it a darker mix, and then I went in and drew these little lace designs and went over it with a glue pen, which is actually a pen used for silver and gold leaf, but it works for embossing too. So I did that, and then I melted that on, and then I outlined the very outer edges. You can look closely. I outlined the outer edges in here black to make the heart pop off the page a little bit more. Now, this one has to be my favorite for enjoy on day 5. And who doesn't enjoy a good cup of coffee, unless you don't like coffee, which people do and do not like it depending on the person, but I like coffee. So I drew everything by hand, made the coffee cup in the middle, and drew all these swirlies, and the colored pencil design with some marker here and there for the swirls. And then I did chalk pastel dusting to make it look like cream on top of a good cup of espresso. And then I put this little filler up here, coffee run, you know, with tea, coffee, hot chocolate, that kind of thing, and a little stamp, and of course a place to write and uplift as that. So no one liked this one. I really don't know why, but it was for the word nest. It really had no inspiration, so I just made this page, and I thought, okay, I don't really have a nest, but I guess you could say I have an artistic nest, which would be made up of paper and pens, my favorite medias. So I drew this girl sitting in a nest made of paper and pens, in this funny tree with lots of stamping. The leaves actually came from a flower stamp that I just used a bit of one side of. So I drew the girl, and, you know, just add more bird feel to it. Maybe I added a real feather to her hat and a little gemstone. And you can see that what she's doing, she's cracking open an egg and waiting for new ideas to hatch. So you have glitter-filled eggs and new ideas. It can be whatever you please. But I also discovered something while doing this project, that you don't have to have specialty embossing glue to get embossing powder to actually melt on the page, because it was an accident, but the gold gel pen I was using on her bodice was a little bit wet when I poured the embossing on the edge of the nest, and it stuck. So when I melted it, it ended up becoming sparkly, which made me realize I can use any wet material and embossing will still melt. So I even applied that to the egg by using a white paint pen. Okay, for the word cherish, I actually did add a real photo, but I cheated because I used the digital effect and approach, because I only had one photo of me and my friend, and I didn't want to waste it on this page. So it's blank where the photo would be, but you can see that this page was on my blog, and I talked about it and made the colors to match up with the photo and write about why I cherished that day. So this is really simple. And then they have the word live. I really didn't get why, and I didn't know what to do, so I thought about the ocean for some reason. Ocean's full of life, and it makes you like to live. Not to mention, you know, living on the sea and whatever. So I did this drawing of a boat on all these swirly waves, and then I did the silver embossing beneath the word, and a pretty shell up at the top, and then this part, which you can see, I told you there were sparkles in the shell, which you couldn't see until now. So, and in case you don't know what this says, because it's kind of blotchy and the powder didn't do its job as well as I hoped, it says adventure. And this was originally a compass, but ended up looking like a gold coin. So it still works for the whole treasure theme. And check out my booty. So there you go. Then they had the word free, which lots of them did butterflies, but I decided to take a different approach with flowers and a dragonfly that has birds in it. And I added in the blues, yellows, and whites. Thought the combination was pretty, and was trying to go base this design off of the very first design I got, because people seemed to like that one. So I just did lots of stamping around the edges, and then ended up with the whole free thing. Then there was the word moment, which I thought about a moment that I'd like to have to myself. So I thought, where would I like to be if I could have a moment? And I thought, well, I know. Laying on the nice grass that's really cool on a warm day, and possibly flying a kite, looking up at the fluffy clouds and all that. So I drew this girl laying on the grass with flowers around her and holding the kite thread that leads up to this. And yeah, it was actually very interesting with the kite, because I messed up on the string placement. So I cut on another piece the same size, and I put a little piece of the 3D foam sticky stuff underneath, and it actually gave it more of a dimensional pop, which ended up being really cool. Now, this one is one of my favorites because it has a twist of the 50s style in it, and a little bit of whimsical in there too. I hand drew the heart and the treble clef, which has become like my musical symbol, and then all these wavy lines and line notes, and at the top you got the hearts, and then I surrounded it in gold with this part and used the fairy tale stencil lettering set. And I really like it because it reminds me of something you'd find hanging above a juice box or something like that. So yeah, I like the 50s. That kind of came out without me meaning for the style to mix, but I guess my drawing style is kind of 50-ish. So the very last page I did was for the word play, and all I could think of was my website, because that's where I like to be playful and share and let you see things I've made. So I based a page directly off of my website. So I put the words perlite, and then I did this flower thing, which originally I tried to make my own, you can see right here, but it's not too great. So I ended up going with a more professional, less overpowering flower, and then did the word play and put the blue, and then I did my symbol, which is all sparkly. I told you you couldn't see that very well either, but so I wrote imagine, and I split the word into two to fit it on the page. It's kind of a weird style, but it worked. So that's the very last page for day 12, and I enjoyed making it a lot. Of course, I got it on late, so it was a bit of a problem. Now, one last thing I'd like to share with you is how I plan to put these in my journal. Since my journals are spiral bound, I came up with a solution. To take a piece of paper that's been punched with the holes and just take the page and simply glue it onto the side so you get that, and I can add it into my book. And, you know, you could even add scalloped edges on the back right here so that you can write on the back of the page too if you want to, and decorate it up and all that. So those are my pages for Big Idea Festival that I've just now finally gotten to sharing a video with you, and I was happy to do it. So I may make videos in the future, so be sure to drop by. Thanks.